Okay, let's dive in. We've got some really incredible source material here today.
Yeah, it looks like a detailed profile, maybe some field notes.
Exactly. All about a creature that's, well, pretty legendary, or maybe nightmarish.
Mm-hmm.
And our goal for this deep dive is really to sift through all this info and pull out the key stuff for you about this formidable being.
Formidable is definitely the word. These notes, they're all about the owlbear.
Ah, the owlbear.
Yeah, I mean, just the name, right? Part owl, part bear. It sounds like something that, well, shouldn't exist.
And the sources seem to agree, don't they? They mention its origins are unnatural.
That's it. It says right here, created long ago by misguided mages.
Misguided is one way to put it. Like,
Uh.
who decides the world needs a giant, angry bird bear?
Yeah. Bit of an odd choice. But, despite that weird start, they've really thrived.
Right. The notes say they've propagated and spread to wildernesses across the multiverse.
Yeah.
That's kind of impressive for a magical mistake.
It really is. And what's cool is these sources, they don't give us the backstory. They really get into the nuts and bolts, the physical details, what they can do, even where they live.
Okay, yeah, I see that. We've got stats, abilities, habitat info, the works.
A really complete picture.
So based on this, let's start with the standard owlbear, the one you might just sort of run into. What do the sources highlight first?
Well, physically, they zero in on a few things. Keen avian eyes.
Makes sense. Owl part.
Right. Thick feathers, a big tearing beak, but all on this mighty bear-like frame.
So every bit of it seems geared towards, hunting and tearing things apart.
Pretty much. Designed for predation.
And location. Where do these notes say you'd find one?
Primarily forest. That's listed as the main habitat.
Which, yeah, that fits. Bear body, forest home, even with the owl bits.
And the notes also really emphasize their hunting style. They're called tenacious hunters.
Tenacious.
Yeah, like they'll track prey for miles, and they rarely give up their hunts.
Okay, so relentless, single-minded, definitely not something you want noticing you.
Absolutely not.
Let's look at the numbers here, the stats. It's categorized as a large monstrosity.
Which usually points to something unnatural, maybe magical in origin.
Yeah, and it's unaligned, so
Yeah.
driven by instinct, not good or evil.
Just hungry.
Probably. Armor class is 13. That's like, it's basic defense.
Sort of average-ish, maybe slightly tough hide or feathers.
Average hit points around 59. Moves pretty quick, 40 feet.
And climbs just as fast? 40 feet climb speed, too. That's interesting.
It is. Good for getting around those forests, I guess.
Yeah.
Now, the ability scores. This is where it gets interesting.
Okay, yeah. Strength is 20. That's really high.
Huge. That's that mighty bear-like frame showing up in the numbers.
Definitely. Dexterity is 12, so, okay. Constitution, its toughness is 17. Pretty sturdy.
Robust, yeah.
Oh,
But intelligence.
Mhm.
Intelligence is 3.
A 3, wow.
And
Okay.
charisma is so much better, just 7. Wisdom is 12, though, so decent awareness.
Right, and that connects to its perception, which is +5, plus dark vision. Sees in the dark, 60 feet. And passive perception of 15. So it's actually quite good at noticing things passively.
Even if it's not, actively searching.
Yeah.
But that intelligence score, that 3 is really something.
It tells you a lot, doesn't it? These aren't master tacticians.
Not at all. It's all instinct, all brute force. But like the notes say, that massive strength, decent wisdom, that tenacity,
Yeah.
it works.
Makes them effective predators despite, well, not being brainy.
Exactly. And no language is listed, which fits perfectly with an int of 3.
Makes total sense. And in a fight, what do the sources say it does?
It gets multi-attack. So more than one swing per turn. Specifically 2 rend attacks, melee plus 7 to hit, 5-foot reach.
And the damage?
Average 14 slashing damage per hit.
Ouch. So 2 of those hitting you in, 6 seconds? That's going to hurt a lot.
Yeah, devastating. Just getting close and tear away.
Right.
Brutal and direct.
Simple but effective, I guess. The sources also mention their homes, right? Their dens.
They do. Some potentially interesting things you might find in an owlbear den.
Oh, yeah. Like what? Well, one option is just evidence of previous occupants, like bandits, wolves, or dragons.
Okay, that tells you something right there. If an owlbear moves in, even dragons might move in.
Establishes the pecking order, yeah.
Yeah.
Or, and this is the classic owlbear thing,
My guess.
pellets.
You got it. Heaps of regurgitated pellets studded with coins or other treasure.
Right, I saw that. Owlbear pellets. With treasure. It's just so weirdly specific.
I know. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Is it just undigested bits from, adventurers they ate?
Or did those mages accidentally give them some kind of, I don't know, weird magical digestion?
Who knows? But it's right there in the notes. Gross, maybe, but potentially profitable.
Huh. Potentially. What else might be in a den?
Could be a nest with 106 owlbear eggs, so they lay eggs, like the owl sign.
Confirms they reproduce that way.
Okay.
And finally, could just be simple passages through the earth or hollow trees. More typical animal den stuff.
Gotcha. So that's kind of the baseline owlbear from these sources. Powerful, instinct-driven, weird origins, maybe coughs up gold.
That sums it up pretty well. But the material doesn't stop there.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah, it mentions a tougher version, a variant.
Okay, now I'm intrigued. What kind of variant?
This is where it gets really interesting. They're called primeval owlbears.
Primeval. Sounds serious.
It does. They apparently come from ancient forests and Feywild dominions steeped in magic.
Ah, so even more magical, maybe old.
Seems like it. And they're explicitly described as particularly large and vicious.
And do the stats reflect that? Particularly large?
Absolutely. This one is classified as huge. That's a size category up from the standard large one.
Okay, significantly bigger then.
And tougher. AC jumps from 13 to 16.
Nice jump.
And hit points. A massive 126 on average, more than double the standard.
Wow. Okay, that's a huge difference in survivability. Speed.
Ground and climb are the same, still 40 feet, but it gains a fly speed.
Oh, really? How fast?
5 feet.
5 feet. That's not exactly soaring, is it? More like a powered hop.
Yeah, it's pretty minimal. Maybe just enough for like a quick reposition or getting over a small obstacle, a weird little flutter jump.
Huh. Okay. What about its abilities? Are they boosted too?
Oh, yeah. Strength is now 22. Just immense.
22. Even stronger.
Constitution is up to 19, so even tougher. Dexterity gets a little bump to 14.
A bit more agile then.
And even intelligence goes up to 8. Still low, obviously, but better than 3.
8 is, well, it's smarter than a standard owlbear, at least.
And wisdom is 15 now, which bumps its perception skill to +8.
Okay, so even more aware of its surroundings. Passive perception must be higher, too.
Yep, 18. Very hard to sneak up on this thing.
So across the board increases.
Yeah.
Bigger, stronger, tougher, slightly smarter, much more perceptive.
Exactly. And the notes give it a CR of 7 compared to CR3 for the standard.
That's a big leap in challenge rating. Tells you it's way, way more dangerous.
Exponentially so. And it gets a crucial defense. Magic resistance.
Ooh. What does that mean according to the source?
It means it has advantage on saving throws against spells and magical effects.
Ah, okay. So trying to use magic to stop it or hurt it is much harder work.
Considerably harder than against the regular kind. Makes sense for something from a magic-steeped forest.
It does. And its attacks, are they just stronger or different?
Upgraded. Still gets multi-attack, 2 attacks, but now they're called Ravage attacks.
Ravage. Nice name.
Hits harder, too. +9 bonus to hit, still 5-foot reach, deals 15 slashing damage on average.
Yeah.
But there's a nasty extra bit described here.
What's that?
It says, if the target is a huge or smaller creature and the owlbear moved 20+ feet straight toward it immediately before the hit.
Okay, like a chart.
Exactly.
Very
The
cool.
target takes an extra 9 slashing damage and has the prone condition.
Whoa. So it charges, hits harder, and knocks you flat on your back.
Yep, knocks you prone,
Back.
which means you're then easier for it to hit with its next attack. It's a really brutal charging combo.
Vicious. That prone condition is rough. Getting hit by a charging primeval owlbear sounds incredibly bad.
Understatement of the year. But wait, there's one more unique thing.
There's more. What now?
It has an ability called Screech.
Screech. Like an owl.
A terrifyingly loud one, apparently. It recharges, so it can't do it constantly, but when it does,
What happened?
every creature within 30 feet has to make a Constitution saving throw. DC 15, pretty tough save.
And if you fail?
You take 27 thunder damage.
Oof, sonic boom, basically.
And, crucially, you are incapacitated until the end of your next turn.
Incapacitated, so you just can't do anything.
Can't take actions or reactions. Basically stunned. Completely vulnerable.
Wow.
Wow.
That's devastating, even if you make the save.
You still take half the thunder damage, so it still hurts, but you're not incapacitated.
That screech changes everything, doesn't it? It's not just damage, it's crowd control. Stunning everyone nearby.
Total game changer, just like the notes describe. Leaves everyone wide open for those Ravage attacks. It makes this primeval version a completely different level of threat.
No kidding. So, pulling it all together from these sources, the primeval owlbear is bigger, way tougher, magic resistant, hits harder, has that brutal charge that knocks you down, and can unleash this incapacitating sonic screech.
Yeah, that's the picture the source material paints. An apex version. A whole different league, like you said.
Approach with extreme caution. Or maybe just run away screaming.
Probably the smarter option, yeah.
Wow. Okay. So that was quite the deep dive into the Owlbear, pulling all that straight from the source material. It's fascinating.
It really is. We went from those weird magical beginnings
Right, the misguided mages.
to how they somehow spread everywhere, looked at the standard version stats, its habits, those weird dens.
The treasure pellets. Can't forget those.
Definitely memorable. And then exploring that huge jump to the primeval variant.
Yeah, the sheer increase in power, the resilience, and those terrifying abilities like the screech and that ground-covering charge. It's all laid out in the notes.
And it shows how you can take these numbers, that really low intelligence next to the huge strength and decent wisdom,
Right.
and combine them with the descriptions, and you get this clear picture of a super effective predator, even without high intellect.
It really does paint that picture vividly. You can almost see it just from the stats and descriptions.
Which kind of leads to a final thought, something the source material makes you wonder about, implicitly anyway.
What's that?
Well, given that low intelligence, that heavy reliance on instinct we saw in the stats and descriptions, what does their success tell us?
Their success as predators.
Yeah, they're really effective hunting, that ability mentioned to track things for miles. What does that say about instinct versus intellect, for survival?
Especially in a world where things like owlbears, these magical creations,
Yeah,
exist alongside naturally evolved creatures.
exactly. How does pure, powerful instinct stack up against intelligence when it comes down to just surviving and thriving, even for something made in a lab, so to speak? Makes you think, doesn't it?